Marshall isn't good enough. Onana has got to do more. Galatasaray 3, Manchester United 3. Welcome to the hotspot, ladies and gentlemen. And here are the 5 lessons we learned from this disappointing draw in the UEFA Champions League. Well, let's get it. Well, Manchester United has thrown away so many leads, but this is one that will pain a lot more. I remember when we do got a red card against FC Copenhagen, when Marcus Rashford was given a red card, we struggled and conceded goals, 4 goals. That was because we were leading by 2 goals. But that comeback pained us. But I think this one against Galatasaray is even more painful. But what exactly do we pick from this game? For me, these are the 5 major things that I pick from this game. Number one, Alejandro Garnacho starting on the left makes sense. He's beginning to look more like a starting player. His confidence, like I've been saying, in that game against Everton, the goal he scored, arguably one of the best Premier League goals we've watched in the entire existence of the Premier League, boosted his confidence, and that is why he was able to again follow it up with another beauty in a bigger stage in Europe. So for me, Garnacho on the left is no more. They should be figuring now, Eric Ten Hag and his team should be figuring out where they will place their beloved Marcus Rashford when he does return, because clearly for now, Garnacho has warranted himself a consistent start in Manchester United. That is one. Two, the second thing we learned from that draw against Manchester United is Anthony Martial is not good enough to be the backup for Rasmus Højlund. Comes on, but struggles in every facet of the game. But does a few right things, but because of his lazy attitude, he does completely nothing. Martial has failed for me completely now at United, and I'm one of those who are feeling that maybe with the arrival of Kobe Maino, who has clearly lifted everyone around Manchester United, maybe Martial can have a chance and be an able deputy to Rasmus Højlund. But seeing some of the things he does on the pitch, and you see a player who has got no desire, no effort. He has got the talent of Thierry Henry, but the attitude of Anthony Dos Santos. That's Martial. Very disappointing. He has not got he has got no hunger. He has got no drive, no oomph, no fire in him. That's why he will make a lazy run. His attitude for me is extremely disappointing, and that's why we fail to see the best of him. Yet, when we were signing him from Monaco in 2015, Anthony Martial was clearly the best emerging talent in Europe, but his attitude is not good enough. Comparisons to Thierry Henry have been as disappointing as his attitude. So for me, Martial, a need for a striker in Jan now makes sense. Manchester United has got to go for a striker in January because Martial is not good enough. Number three that we learn, Manchester United has got to play with 2 holding midfielders. It is clear the way we play, when we lose the ball, Manchester United becomes the easiest team to beat. When we lose the ball, we are disorganized. We create big spaces in the middle. Even Kobe Maino becomes like a drop in the ocean. He's so exposed. So one holding midfielder doesn't work. In this game, you would have thought Scott McTominay should be the second holding midfielder supporting Amrabat, who, by the way, had a decent game. But I saw when Kobe Maino came on, when United were even still leading in this game, we were struggling. Whenever we lost the ball, Galatasaray had a lot of spaces to exploit. In fact, we are lucky we did not concede so many goals. Galatasaray are not as clinical. They are a very beatable side, very disorganized, but they were matching us because when we don't have the ball, we are too bad. I remember all the greatest managers will tell you one thing they always teach players is what to do without the ball. Pep Guardiola's teams have been great, not just because of how they play well with their tic-tac. It is because of how organized they be when they don't have the ball. Carlo Ancelotti has said it before. You don't teach world-class players what to do with the ball. They know what to do. Just give them a system to do what they know what to do. But you've got to teach them. Players don't know what to do when they don't have the ball. If you get that right, you're going to get a winning team. Eric Ten Hag has got to be teaching his players what to do without the ball. That is what Manchester United should be investing their time in. Eric Ten Hag should be teaching these players when we don't have the ball, how do we move? Where does who go? But clearly, without the ball, we are as disorganized as the world. And it's so painful to see. It's bad. It's terrible. So we need to play, first of all, with 2 holding midfielders. because one is not good enough given the disorganization we have. We need to be more organized without the ball. That's the biggest issue I've seen, and that is why we concede goals for fun. We have scored 12 goals, the most in the Champions League so far. We have the co-top scorer in Rasmus Højlund. We have been putting on debates about Højlund and Haaland and trying to put them together. They are together at the same level. They are the two co-top scorers with 5 goals apiece. But we have conceded the most goals by this time in the Champions League in the history of the competition. Imagine the same season when we are having the top scorer in the group stages, Rasmus Højlund having as many goals as Erling Haaland. We have scored 12 goals, the most of any team at this stage so far in the Champions League. We have, but we have conceded the most, 14, and this is a record in the Champions League. No team has conceded more goals at this stage than Manchester United in the history of the Champions League. A goal difference of -2. We've scored 12 and conceded 14. That shows you of how bad we are defensively. We are rock bottom of the group, yet we have the top scorer in the Champions League. Now, this should show you how terrible these departments are. And that is why now this is my final verdict from the biggest lessons we are learning from this game. I've said it. We've got to play Garnacho on the left. Yes, Martial should be going out. We've got to play two holding midfielders, and the manager has got to teach these players what to do without the ball. The other thing is Andre Onana must be benched. It is time we bench Andre Onana. Why? Onana has failed to stick to the basics. Onana tries to do too much, and that is why he's making mistakes. That free kick from ZH could have been avoided. But how many times have we considered? How many of those 14 goals we've considered can you really blame on Onana? And we've been here defending him, saying his defenders are not good enough. So and so is not good enough. Okay, given some departments have not been good enough. Many of our departments have not been good enough. But as a goalkeeper, you're supposed to be getting the basics right. But Andrew Onana is playing in his head. I think he has not yet got to terms with the fact that he's the number one goalkeeper of Manchester United. So he tries to do so much for nothing. He's trying to animate himself for nothing. Stick to the basics. Keep it simple. Onana's problem is he's trying to do so much, and I feel like that is a problem of an excited player who has got no confidence. Now, I don't even know how that plays out. You're excited and you're not confident. What do you expect? That is a recipe for disaster. And that's what we are seeing right now. So Andre Onana has got to be cautioned. He's doing too much and he's costing the team. One goal. How many games have we failed to win in the Champions League because the turning point was the baby mistake from Andre Onana? You can go on. Galatasaray first leg, FC Copenhagen, Bayern Munich, error after error after error after error. And all these errors are basic errors. He will pull a magical save and then commit an array of basic football errors. It's not acceptable. We've got to make a reaction. That is why we signed another top goalkeeper in Altel Bayindir. Erik ten Hag has got to react. This is my match reaction. Those are the 5 lessons I pick from this game. The negatives especially. The positives are there, and I'll give them to you. But in this video, I wanted to dwell more on the on the negatives. Of course, there are a few positives, but the negatives for me do stand out from this game. And these are lessons Erik ten Hag and co should be learning. Hotspot, subscribe. My name is Webb. What's your take on this?